Hi, this is TJ Muehleman with Standard Co. with another edition of Data in the Wild, where we use actual use cases of people using our data or data we've collected for others and talk about how it's actually used to make decisions, to make lives on people a little easier, or how to build cool products. And today we're going to tell kind of a personal story about how we're using COVID Mapping Project, our data collection project around COVID. So I have two kids, 3 and 5, Lily and Nora. They're the best. They're really cute. But I have the unique distinction of having a kid in elementary school and a kid in daycare during COVID. My 5-year-old goes to North Shore schools in suburban Seattle. And they have been really wonderful at sort of over communicating how they're dealing with COVID, how they're using data to make decisions when they close classrooms down. And I felt very clear about what they're doing. Now, daycares, on the other hand, have had in a really bad position because they're not public health entities, they're private organizations. So they get some data from the public health infrastructure, but they don't really get a lot. They get some guidance from CDC and some guidance from their local public health authorities, and they don't always jive. So for example, my daycare, which is full of wonderful people and I love them to pieces, has decided, this is a decision they made, to not allow classes to commingle, which means they had to change their operating hours. They lost an hour at the beginning and an hour at the end. So instead of being open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., they're now open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that allows them to kind of, when my kid goes into a class, she's in that class. She doesn't change. And the reason they did that, which I really like, is it means if there's COVID outbreak in one class, it doesn't spread around, doesn't contaminate the rest of the school. So it's meant that there's been fewer closures in our school than in others, in our daycare than in others. But the challenge that they've found is that they don't really have a good barometer for when they should change their operating hours again to allowing kids to commingle with each other, because the county hasn't told them to do that. CDC hasn't told them to do that. So I reached out to them and said, hey, look, I run COVID Mapping Project. I work in global health and I'm a data guy. And, maybe we should use data to govern when you open your operating hours again, to allowing children to move between classes, to allowing teachers to move between classes. And they're like, that's cool. The county hasn't really guided us at all on that. And we're like, well, here we go. COVID Mapping Project. So this week, I'm going to kind of move this up here, or I'll move this over here. This week, my daycare has decided to start using this county dashboard to determine when they can change the hours. So for example, right now in King County, where we're at in suburban Seattle, the case level or the risk level is yellow. It's barely yellow. Which basically means we've had one case over the last 7 days, or average of one new case every day over the last 7 days. And we're actually using the Harvard Global Health Institute COVID suppression framework. So we didn't invent this suppression framework, Harvard did. But we're using the data that we capture in COVID Mapping Project every night to calculate the risk level. And what we've advised the daycare to do is that when the risk level is yellow for 2 consecutive weeks, you have moved into an area where you can open the school back up. The COVID risk has lowered, and you can actually communicate that to parents. So what parents are just dying for in COVID, and I'm speaking for myself, but every parent out there, is more clarity around what changes are made based on data, as opposed to just sort of like, I think we should open back up. No, let's use data to govern the decisions that we make. And so I'm really proud that my daycare has decided to do this, has decided to actually use data to govern when they open their hours, when they close. And in the future, what we envision happening is using a framework like this for both COVID, influenza, and other respiratory diseases to decide when kids should wear masks, when adults should wear masks, to mitigate the spread of these respiratory diseases. We can use data to make decisions. We can use data in real time to say, this week we're going to wear masks, and this week we're going to close the office hours because we don't want to spread a particular virus or airborne virus. So I think this is a great example of why COVID Mapping Project is still around, why we've made it easy to navigate to specific counties. You can pick any county in the country in this site, and you can link directly to it. And what we think this allows us to do is to provide more clarity and better understanding of the data that we use to make decisions. So if you're interested in this, reach out to us. This is TJ at Standard Co. You can go to standardco.de. Again, that's standardco.de, or you can find me on Twitter or pretty much any social channel, or just respond to YouTube. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you see how we use data in the wild. Like, share, subscribe, talk to your friends about us, and hopefully we'll hear from you. Thanks so much.